Good evening, my friends. Welcome to the show. I am Lou Mongello. Merry Christmas, Happy Wednesday, and welcome to the final WDW Radio Live. I can't believe this, of 2018. It still hasn't hit me quite yet. Not only are the holidays sort of over, but the year is as well. And oh, what a year it's been. That's a not so subtle segue to an upcoming show where we're going to look back at 2018. But I hope that you had a Happy Hanukkah, a Merry Christmas, a Quasi Kwanzaa, and a fantastic Festivus, whatever, wherever, however you celebrate. I hope that it was spent with those you love, those you tolerate, and some foods that you are still recovering. It's going to be a stretchy pants week for Lou Mongello. Then again, when is it not? When is it not? But it's more of a stretchy pants week. It's like a Spider-Man stretchy. It was a very Spidey Christmas for Lou Mongello. There's a lot of Spidey going on thanks to a lot of friends and family who joined in the festivities at Casa de Mongello this year. It's I don't have a lot of family here, blood family down here in Florida. My mom and brother came down, but we invited a lot of friends over who are here as well. Gail, thank you very much. I'm getting back to it. Elizabeth Jones Morris, hello from the River Roost Lounge. Please, please, please do me a favor if you can. Go over to Yeehaw Bob, give him a hug, it's not weird, and tell him that is for Lou Mongello and that I wish him a very Merry Christmas and the happiest of New Year's 2019. We're going to go back and we're going to see Yeehaw Bob again. Melanie got lots of New York Giants stuff on sale, I assume. The Giants, they do it every year, Melanie. They start off bad. You're like, good, the season's a wash. Let's get an early draft choice. Then they win a few games. You get that little glimmer of hope in that tiny little piece of your heart, and then they break it once again. But that's okay. It has been fun to watch. Rita, it's so good to see you. Thank you very, very, very much. Not just for joining us. Was it last week? 2 weeks ago on the live show from the tree festival light thing in Disney Springs, but for the so very huge and delicious package that you sent. Darlene, Christopher, Erica Manning, definitely no zippers this week. I think that is a great way to put it. Gail, Mark, Jim Rohoski, Stuart, Tracy, I can go on and on. So listen, and I appreciate so many of you. I know the holidays are crazy. You're still recovering. There's wrapping paper and possibly broken glass everywhere from the family being over. So thank you for joining me tonight. You guys always put a smile on my face. Mimi, Rob, Darlene Nagy got a new Dodge Ram named Stormtrooper, and some people have it. Yeah, it could be Kelly. I know it's tough to be a Dolphins fan too. They keep you close and then they break your heart. Alex Mayer, the most talented artist in the history of the Disney company. It's a bit of a stretch, but he's close. Definitely in the top. Cohee, Blackmore. Definitely in the top 19 or 20. Definitely in the top. He's definitely in double digits in terms of, but the nicest guy on the planet. I mean, besides Cohee and Black. I'm kidding, man. I love you, brother. We have to get together again soon. Thank you for being here. I hope your family had a good holiday. Dave Rashoni, I'm expecting you to weigh in tonight, obviously in the conversation that we want to have. Alex Mayer, Dolphin fan too. Yeah, Dave Rashoni, come on, your last name ends in a vowel. You know that when a lot of Italians get together, there's a lot of love, there's a lot of food. Usually there's actually no arguing this year. It was nice. We had a very nice Christmas. And I had matzo ball soup today, so it was even better. It was a good year, a good Christmas, and what better way to round out 2018 than to spend it with you. I take my glasses off. You, I'm talking to you individually. You, my friend, here in the box. If you were closer and I could have fit you in my house, I would have invited you too. But you were there in spirit, and I ate your portion of food anyway. So Mark Thompson's finishing off the last of the eggnog. That is the way to do it. Karen saw Mary Poppins. Curious to hear what others think. That's exactly part of the reason why we are here tonight. I wanted to give you guys some time to see it, hopefully, before we talked about it, because I don't want to just share some of my thoughts, but more importantly, I want to not just read, but I want you guys to call in. I want to hear yours. So here's the call-in number. Don't call in now, but there's going to be a call-in number. Obviously, you heard the interviews. I hope that you heard the interviews. Did you hear the interviews? I never checked my download numbers. I'm hoping that you downloaded the show, reviewed the show, and more importantly, shared it and told your friends, because I interviewed not just the songwriters, but director Rob Marshall as well. And I wanted to save my review, not for the show, one, not to spoil it, and two, because I wanted to really have a conversation with you, because when I walked out, I had my feels, but I wanted to know your feels, your kids' feels, and that's exactly what I wanted to hear. Dave Rashoni says, Poppins rocked. Spoiler alert, I expect you to get on the speed dial there. Keep hitting redial on your rotary phone or whatever you got up there and hear your thoughts. But I want to share a little bit of my thoughts about Mary Poppins Returns. But of course, because it's also the holidays, if we have some time, I want to know how good Santa, your friends, your family, Hanukkah Harry, what is it, like the Kwanzaa bunny, the Kwanzaa kangaroo, whatever the Kwanzaa, whoever brought you gifts, whether they be material things or just the emotional things, I want to know and hear about how your holiday was. And if you didn't get anything, just tell me what you ate, because we ate so much food. It was phenomenal. So Lisa says we all loved it, including my 8 and 4-year-olds. Yeah, so I want to hear a lot about that. All right, so I'm going to quickly, I don't want to spend too much time on this because I want to hear your thoughts as well, but I do want to share a little bit about what my feelings were. In the interest of full disclosure, I was invited out by the Walt Disney Studios to go out to California, not just to go to the press conference, but also for a press screening of Mary Poppins Returns. So I did get to see it before it was released in theaters. So I've been sort of bottling this up, and I've had some time to kind of think and ruminate on it for a while. And I will start off, again, I am always completely transparent with you. And despite what you might see some people say otherwise, I'm a very positive person, so that's why so much of what I say and do is positive, not because I feel like I need to or I have to, but it's because of who I am. However, when I did initially hear 2, 3, however long ago, about a Mary Poppins Returns sequel, it was understandable, I think, that you can say, I was a bit reticent, a little hesitant, because the original, and we're all going to say it over and over again, because the original, in my mind, IMHO, as the kids like to say, was truly practically perfect in every way, right? In every single way, from the story about how it got made to Walt's, true handprints on it, the Sherman Brothers, the casting. I mean, every single part about that movie, that jigsaw puzzle fit just perfectly. And if you've asked me in the past, and I've talked about this mess, if you ask me not just my favorite movie, but one of my favorite movies of all time, Mary Poppins is up there very, very high. And it's probably far and away my favorite Disney film. I grew up with it. As I grew older with it, it made more sense to me, not as a kid, but as a parent. I think you need to watch Mary Poppins as a kid and hopefully fall in love with it. And then if you are blessed to be a parent or an aunt or an uncle, a big brother, big sister, whatever it is, when you watch it with those eyes, I think the film takes on a different, broader, deeper significance to you. But you hear about this sequel coming, obviously with, it's 5 decades later, so it's a new cast, new screenwriters, new composers, and no Walt Disney. I wondered why they felt the need to touch a film that was so complete. It left nothing at the end to the want or a need for a sequel. Now, that being said, that's the movie, in its own bubble. The P.L. Travers stories that Mary Poppins, the original, was based on were selected from a series of 8 books, which had no narrative. It wasn't sort of a beginning, a middle, and an end, and sort of had this story arc. There were a lot of little vignettes, so there were more stories to be told from the books. It's a matter of figuring out how and when and why. Why do you make this film when you do? That being said, I went into the film admittedly skeptical, and as excited as I was, I think of Mary Poppins. When I think of Mary Poppins, I think of Sherman Brothers. I think of Julie Andrews. I think of Dick Van Dyke, who's in the film. And some of those songs that have such meaning to me, I will tell you, I walked out of the film not just wiping a tear from my eye, but with an immediate, I sort of wrote down as soon as I walked out, because obviously we couldn't have our phones on. Not that you should ever have your phones on in a theater, but I walked out and sort of quickly jotted down my thoughts, and I dictated them to my phone. And the first thing that I said was, this film captures the essence and that emotional narrative, and dare I say the magic that the original have. And I think what it does is pays, and this is going to be a recurring theme, in many ways it pays wonderful tribute, not just to the characters and the music, but the P.L. Travers stories, and I think most importantly, the messages that the original film had. I felt as though I was taken on an emotional roller coaster of a journey, many more highs than there were. And when I say lows, I don't mean lows in terms of pacing or anything. I mean lows in terms of from outward laughter to my heartstrings being tugged at. And if you have seen the film, you know that there are some moments, especially if you are a parent, if you are married, attic scene, that will get you right there. It was interesting going to the screening with some people who were not sort of the hardcore Disney fans. There was like, oh, is this like a remake? No, it's not. It's set 25 years after the original. And I think one of the things that I and some of the other people when we came out were talking about, but I think I might have mentioned this during the interviews, was the timing of the film. So in the timing of the film itself in terms of story is set 25 years after the original. And I think in terms of timing of the original story in the movie, and I think timing for us, not to get overly, waxing poetic, but Mary Poppins comes into people's lives just when they need her, whether they realize it or not. The Banks children, she came to them when they needed her most. The Banks family, then and now, needed a little touch of Mary Poppins. And I think we, in times of divide and tumult and other things that are happening, this film comes along in a very significant time, because I think in terms of theming, it's about rediscovering hope, and for a lot of people, that's what they need right now, and that's a theme that runs through. If you ever read the Travers books, the timing and that rediscovery of hope is something that comes through in the film. And I think what happens is, as we get older, we become jaded, we become a little bit cynical. Sometimes we stop believing in things, which you should never do. I still believe in the goodness of people and Santa Claus and the Easter Bunny, and I think one of the things that's what the Travers books and the stories do is that it imparts not just lessons for children to take away, but I think some practical and important lessons for adults. Now, I think in terms of timing too, I don't just mean from a messaging perspective and I think from a movie making point of view, this is one of those grand family musicals, which I don't think we've had in a very, very long time. If you think of some recent musicals, whether it's Chicago or something, it's more for adults. This is one that is definitely geared towards family. I don't think we've had a film like that since Sound of Music, Mary Poppins, Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, some of those grand films like that, because I think the messaging here is unlike some of the other musicals, even things like Greatest Showman or La La Land are not really for kids, right? But this has messages for kids that are applicable to adults about loss and growing older without actually growing up, right? So in the story, so a very quick synopsis, there's the Banks family is having money troubles. Who isn't? That story is almost overshadowed in a good way by the kids adventures that they have with Mary Poppins, much like the originals, and the lessons that the kids take away translate through the entire family. I think Rob Marshall did a wonderful job sort of balancing and pacing the film in that way, because there's whimsy that's balanced well with the songs and the scenes and the dialogue that tears on some of those emotional heartstrings. Again, when I heard about the film and I was hesitant, I thought about Dick Van Dyke, I thought about Richard and Robert Sherman, I thought about Julie Andrews, and I think one of the challenges this film had are the massive, monstrous, gargantuan, somebody get me a thesaurus, huge shoes that needed to be filled, especially Emily Blunt, who, and if you listen, I got to ask her a question, swoon, during the press conference. If you go back and watch the video, it's here on Facebook somewhere. She was not trying to be Julie Andrews, which I think was absolutely the right move, but a Mary Poppins that, like the rest of the film, smiles in a very loving way towards the original. And as you watch, you'll see that Emily Blunt's performance is very, very different than Andrews, and she can be a bit more. She can be a bit more blunt. Pardon that was I swear unintentional pun. She can be Mary Poppins a little bit more blunt, a little more sassy, a little bit more quippy than the original. To that point, I think Lin-Manuel's portrayal of Jack is akin to Bert, but here he's very much and very intentionally clear that he is a friend of Mary Poppins, unlike that bit of attraction and sort of flirtatiousness that you saw in the original. There's no flirtation going on here, and he actually fancies another character in the film. Meryl Streep, again, there's a lot of parallels here. Meryl Streep's scene is a nice sort of trip down a side street to the story. While it folds in well, it very much reminded me of a nod to the Uncle Albert scene, and you can almost sense that there is an inherent chemistry between Blunt and Streep, because this is the third time they've worked together. They were in the Devil Wears Prada and Into the Woods, and her cousin Topsy is for me, again, I don't see everything that Meryl Streep is in, but it was a very sort of divergent role for her. But again, it sort of felt like that little a little trip down a side street as they sort of were continuing on with the story. But one of the things I think for Mary Poppins that makes it, the film, the original, so perfect is the music. And here, there is, again, that very remarkable chemistry between the song and dance numbers. I think Emily Blunt has a beautiful ballad during the song, and my favorite is a scene near the end, which is very much, you don't see these grand Hollywood song and dance routines. I can't remember the last time I saw something like that on film. Maybe the finale of Grease. Maybe that was about it, because that's the one that I remember for personal reasons. But throughout so much of the music, there are tributes, obvious and subtle otherwise, in the scoring to the Sherman Brothers. Underneath the lovely London sky, you can pull elements from The Life I Lead from the Sherman Brothers. The Triple Little Light Fantastic is probably one of the most memorable songs. Nowhere to Go But Up, very much references to a certain degree Let's Go Fly a Kite in terms of the type of music, and even some of the lyrics, I think, touch on it. But I think, because I want to hear from you, I think, like I said, the entire film is a love letter to the original. I think what you need to do, if you have not seen it yet, is it can be very easy to sit down and watch that film while the original Mary Poppins is playing in your mind's eye, and you start trying to compare character to character, actor to actor, scene to scene. While it's easy to do that, you can't and you shouldn't, because it's unfair to this film, because it needs to stand on its own. And I think comparing any film to Mary Poppins is an unfair comparison. You need to go in with eyes and focus that are on what you're watching, not what it is that you are remembering. For me, I absolutely felt, and this is for me a huge barometer of a film, I felt a huge emotional impact from it, due in part to not just the performances. The visuals are stunning. The Royal Dalton is absolutely not, obviously, that animation sequence, again, nodding to the original, is spectacularly done in a very unique way. But the film, I spoke to a number of people there. I want to see it with my kids. We haven't had a chance to see it yet with the holidays and other stuff going on. I was skeptical at first, but now I can't wait to see it again, not just through my own eyes, but I want to watch my kids as they are seeing it as well. I want to capture their reaction as they come out. The Golden Globes, it's already gotten 4 nominations, including Best Motion Picture Comedy, Best Actress, Emily Blunt, Best Actor, Lin-Manuel, and Best Original Score. I was surprised that none of Mark Shaman's new songs were nominated for Best Song. I very much was disappointed. I was very happy to see songs from Black Panther being in there, but because the music is such an important and requisite part of this film, I was hoping to see it recognized there, and who knows what will happen when the Oscars come along. But I think it's a truly heartfelt family film. You don't have to be part of a family. Well, I guess everybody's part of a family. You don't have to take your family, have a family to enjoy it. It follows a very similar pathway to the original. I think not in trying to replicate it, but in paying loving homage to it. I think it's going to have you laughing and smiling and singing, and maybe even shedding a little bit of a wonderful tear along the way. But I would, of course, love to hear. That's why I'm putting these in. I want to hear from you. I want to hear from you and your thoughts on Mary Poppins Returns. I was reading some of the comments along the way. I have seen a lot of people who have seen it already cried when Mary Poppins appeared, cried when, spoiler alert, when some other people appeared. I'm going to take the first call right away because I want to just get right into it. Hey, this is Lou. You're on the air.
Hi there. Am I the first caller? Oh, my gosh. It's Beatrice.
Of course it's Beatrice. Beatrice
Merry
Dennis.
Christmas.
My
Happy
longtime
everything.
friend. Happy everything to you.
Happy everything. I absolutely adored this movie, and I was skeptical too. But one thing that I have been saying is it's perfectly parallel. If you know the original story, there are new adventures and new stories for a new generation. It's not the same movie, but the story, the songs, everything are just the same way that they've written them. The same. They're so catchy. I walked out there. I've already bought the soundtrack.
And that's what a lot of us did. We walked out, right, and we bought the soundtrack because I wanted to listen to it again when I was heading back to my hotel. Is there a song? Because, look, I think so many of us, especially those who are huge Disney fans, you say Mary Poppins and you can rattle off, 3 or 4 songs right off the bat. Was there one song that sticks out in your mind or you found yourself, playing over and over again?
I can't get it out of my head. Trip a Little Light Fantastic. Yeah. I love it. It's happy. It's just a happy song.
It does. And like they were saying during the interview, like it just sort of like carries you along like that quick melody. And it's one of the very many catchy songs. And I think time will tell just how well these songs stay attached to, pop culture and Disney, and anybody can almost, you can say supercalifragilisticexpialidocious or Let's Go Fly a Kite, and almost anybody will know those songs. We'll see in 5-10 years if you say Trip a Little Light Fantastic or, Underneath the Lovely London Sky, if people know those songs as well.
Exactly. And I really think that the original story, I can't even imagine the undertaking that these people did, because it's like what you were talking about with the elephant in the room. Like, how can you even create this new story with such a magnificent story that you already had? Right. But I think that they did a wonderful job of the new adventures, the new stories. They did protect our characters that we love so much. They did have so many similarities for those of us who loved it. But they're different stories for a new generation. Yeah. And I can't imagine how they could have done it any better. Honestly, it was wonderful. And one of the quotes you were talking about on your show with them is, a couple of the quotes that you loved. But one that really, really stood out to me was, "You're so focused on where you've been that you can't see where you're going."
Yeah.
And I mean, that was one where I walked out of the theater and I wrote that down in my phone too. I was like, because I sometimes look at my past and I need to just keep focused on the future and the happy and go toward the light. It's just
don't
so
go
many
towards the light,
pieces
Carol
of
Ann.
this movie.
and I know you, Beatrice Feeney. I'm going to bet dollars to donuts that you cried during this movie.
Oh my gosh. I did. Oh, it was fantastic. There's so many wonderful similarities that, that we can compare and love the new version as well.
Scale of 1 to 10, what do you give it?
Oh, wow.
I'm going to put you on the spot.
I can't think of any way that they could have made it better. So I think, I was skeptical, but, I'd have to say 9. I would have given it a 10 because I can't figure out how to make it better. But then I was like, well, somebody's going to say something along the way. But I was quite pleased. I absolutely loved it. It's awesome. It's a happy movie with tears, as you said, but it's such a good thing.
Will you go see it again? Will you see it twice, or will you buy it when it comes out?
Absolutely. Yes, the boys didn't go with us. They actually gave it to us as a Christmas present. They didn't go with us, so nice. Now they want to see it. So now we're going to get to watch it with them sometime. So that'll be good.
Excellent. Well, thank you for calling. Have a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and I look forward to seeing you soon.
Well, thank you, and to you and everyone else, too. Merry Christmas and happy everything. We're looking forward to 2019, too.
I am, too. I'll talk to you soon.
Okay, you too. Bye.
Bye-bye. Hey, it's Lou. You're on the air.
Hey, let me lower my sound. Sorry. There we are. Hi, Lou. How are you? This is Brian Harvey.
Hey, Brian. How are you, buddy?
Pretty good. Pretty good. Happy holidays.
Same to you as well, my friend.
You may want to play the Darth Vader theme when I give you my opinion. And I know I'm going to stand out alone on the limb here. I was a little disappointed, only because we've seen it before. With the original Mary Poppins, and unfortunately I saw it when it first came out. I was a little boy at the time. Don't tell anybody I said that. But there was magic. We saw things that we never saw before. In this film, there wasn't anything we hadn't seen before, and it was the very same story arc. They didn't do anything different. The first thing that bothered me, and yes, I did tear up a little in the attic scene, but when Michael pulled out the snow globe, where did he get it? Mary Poppins in the original movie puts it in her carpet bag. How'd it get up in the attic?
eBay. He got it on eBay.
Stop it.
Amazon Prime. He ordered it that morning, same day delivery. It's amazing.
Amazon Prime. But it's the very same story. Instead of the umbrella, she flies in on a kite. Instead of Step in Time, it's Triple Little Light Fantastic. Instead of Uncle Albert floating up to the ceiling floated down to them. Instead of going into the chalk pavement picture, they went into a porcelain bowl. It's the same film. I wanted to see something new, and I didn't get anything new out of the film.
And I can see that, and I wonder, and I'll play devil's advocate just for the sake of discussions, and I wonder if that was part of the idea, which is, if you take a child of 12 years old to see Mary Poppins, the original, right now, the film, the characters, maybe even the music to them might feel like it's an old movie. It's dated. So are you able to create a film and craft a film for a new generation of kids and families that is their Mary Poppins, that shines a nod to the original while still being, its own, a film that would stand on its own if it was just seen.
Right.
Because some kids will say the old '64 Mary Poppins looks old. I'm not watching that, but this is bright. It's actors or actresses that they might know, and it becomes more relative and relatable to them.
And I can see your point where you're going with that. And remember, I don't see it with I don't know how to say this. I don't see it like a normal audience does.
Right.
I'm an actor.
Right.
And I see it through an actor's eyes. And even at the very beginning when she was looking at her reflection, it's like the reflection's going to do something like in the original movie.
Right.
And it did. And it's like, come on, nothing is new. Don't get me wrong. I enjoyed the film. Yes, I won't see it again, but I already have it on pre-order on iTunes.
and I think that's taking that in light of what you said, the fact that you've ordered it already, I think look, there's sometimes you'll go to a movie and I'll be like, "Oi, I'll never ever watch that again."
But from what you said earlier, as opposed to you, except for Triple and Light Fantastic, I don't think any of the tunes stick in your head like the original.
Right.
I did not leave the theater humming.
And I'm curious.
And even the credits were the very same. Were the same credits in the opening and the end with the Dick Van Dyke misspelling. It's like it's the same film from credit to credit. Am I wrong?
No, and like I said, and that's why I said I think that you. Because I found myself at the beginning doing that. I was sort of playing the original Mary Poppins in my mind, and I'm sort of comparing side by side. And I'm like, that's not fair. It's not fair for me to do that. But I think to your point, it does show that it definitely not so subtly nods to the original in a number of ways.
No, it's a modern update of the original, even though the story is different. It's the very same story arc. We went to the Magic Kingdom last Saturday to see the Very Merry Christmas Parade.
Right.
And I was talking to one of the cast members before the parade, and he was telling me that Disney is after the elusive Best Picture of the Year award. They've never won Best Picture of the Year. And so when we went to see the movie, I said, before the film, I said, maybe this is it. Maybe this is going to win the award. It's like, nah, I don't think so. To me, if I can go off subject here, I think the Best Picture of the Year is Bohemian Rhapsody.
I haven't
Brilliant
seen
film.
I'm waiting for it on Betamax.
On Betamax. I'm still waiting for your Grease tape on Betamax.
Listen, that's never happening. So. It's right. My vote for Best Picture is Into the Spider-Verse, but I'm clearly incredibly biased. So,
have you seen it?
Twice. Only twice so far.
See, the only thing that turns me off about the Spider-Verse, I'm not a fan of anime. I love animation.
It's animation. It's like reading a comic book on the screen. It's
fantastic. And I was talking to somebody the other day about that, and he said that's what's drawing him to the film because he loves graphic novels.
Yeah, it's beautiful. All right, so scale of 1 to 10, what's your Mary Poppins Returns?
7.5.
Okay, wow. So that's based on what you said. That's much higher, and I think that's still.
Like I said, it was a delightful film. It was a perfectly delightful film, but it wasn't anything I had never seen before, and it was just a redo of the original with a different story.
I got you, brother. Listen, and it's so good to hear from you.
Opinion.
I hope to see you again soon, my friend. It's been too long.
Oh, tell me about it. We were hoping to go this Saturday, but, we have our furry four-legged son, and the meet is just too late in the day.
I got you. Hopefully I'll see you soon, man.
Maybe an early morning meet sometime?
Maybe. I can make that happen. We'll do a little coffee talk.
A very happy. What's that?
We'll do a little coffee talk meetup one morning. We'll meet up early for coffee.
Talk. I'd love some coffee talk. We'll pick a subject and then discuss.
All right, buddy. Have a good one.
Lou, a very happy holiday to Deanna and the kids. I can't believe how big your kids are getting already. It's unbelievable.
Don't make me cry again.
Happy holidays, Lou.
All right, brother. Take care.
Thank you for not playing the Darth Vader.
No problem. Take care, man.
You too. Bye.
Oh, my God, the calls are coming in fast and furious. Wait, I can't answer. Come on. Hey, it's Lou. You're on the air.
Hey, buddy.
Hey, who's this?
This is Mr. Rashoni speaking.
Dave Rashoni. Look at... I am happy that you made it through on the Z100 call-in show. How are you, my friend? Merry Christmas to you.
Hey, Merry Christmas to you and yours. I hope you guys had a wonderful holiday.
I am still fat and full of all kinds of Spidey goodness.
Spidey goodness.
Oh,
good, man.
It was a very Spidey Christmas. So much Spider-Man this Christmas. All right, we'll get to that later.
You got something for Spider-Man? I hadn't heard it.
Yeah, go figure.
Really?
Go figure. Wow. So Dave Rashoni, I'm gonna set you up, Dave. So Dave Rashoni is the man behind the magic at djrmusic.com. You may know him from such theme songs as the WDW Radio theme song, which has been playing in your ears for 13-ish years or so. It's the man on the keyboard. It's the man behind the mic. And I'll have to play the extended version. His lovely and talented, you way outkicked your coverage, my friend, wife sings the full version as well.
That was a very nice introduction. I have to leave now. Thank you, bud. Yeah, well, hey, you know what? Great timing on the show, the theme of the show, because Kath and I just got back about 2 hours ago from seeing the movie for the very first time. And I'm still kind of formulating thoughts, but oh, my God, what a really well-done job they did. Oh, man. I, like probably everybody else, I know you and I have talked about this. Mary Poppins, much like you, is very high on my list. I just got done directing the musical for a local theater production company here in the area back in September. So I have a real I care a lot about the character, obviously, from growing up from the original movies to the books to the Broadway show and all that stuff. And so, yes, when they announced that they were doing this, I'm always very cynical and like, please don't screw this up when they do a remake. Like, I'm probably right now the only guy on earth who is really scared of the Lion King remake right now.
I listen, and I'll just stop you because I said the same thing. I was very skeptical. I was like, yikes! Why do you touch the film that shall not be touched? Like, there's no reason. It doesn't need a prequel or a sequel. Certainly not a remake. So I was skeptical, and I think it's okay to admit that. You know, especially if the film was able to allay some of those fears that we might have had going in.
Agreed. And then when you start seeing the cast and the crew that's being assembled, you because you know their work, you're going, okay, all right, okay, all right. Okay, we've got some people here. We got some people that can sing. We got some people that can write. Okay, Rob Marshall definitely has a good track record and all that fun stuff. But you know, it was wonderful. It was so much more than I thought it was going to be. I think Kath and I cried throughout most of the movie. There were such tender moments on it. And yes, to kind of agree with your previous caller, was there anything new? No, but it's also having a comfortable your long lost friend come back and you relive some of the memories that you had that made that long lost friend such a memorable friend and close friend. Yeah, you could definitely say, oh well, the music hall one was the homage to Super Cal. The last number was the homage to Fly a Kite. And is there anything new about this? There's no groundbreaking technology or anything like there was in '64, but I don't think it mattered.
And I don't think it's a film that demands that, Dave. I don't think Mary Poppins Returns is one where you're trying to use, CGI to tell the story. And we have to remember, too, these are stories that are being told by the same author. It's a continuation of all these vignetted stories that had no narrative through them, that were pieced together much like the original does. So it's going to, I think, inherently feel the same way, and it's a matter of trying to match the pacing, I think, is what they were trying to do, and hit on some of those notes that the original did.
And I loved the little homage. I'm probably saying the wrong word there, but I love the little touches to the original. The tail of the kite was a suffragist. The tail of the kite. Yeah, thank you. The little joke at the end that Dick Van Dyke tells, which is the joke in the Uncle. Oh my God,
Uncle Albert.
Thank you. The little scene about the wooden leg, little stuff like that. Most people probably wouldn't have caught that. There's in the score, in the music under dialogue. There's little bits from both the Broadway show and the movie that are original songs. I mean, stuff like that was just tickling me the whole day long. And I'm punching Kathy. I'm elbowing her, going, "That was. Did you hear that? Did you hear that? It was the life I lead." And she's trying to get away from me as usual.
And I thought of you. I honestly thought of you as I was watching the film, because I was listening as much as I was watching. I think when we watch a film, we're so concerned with the dialogue and the visuals that we don't pay attention to the score. Right? We don't sort of hear what's happening underneath, and I think because I love the original so much, because of the whole Richard Sherman sort of connection thing, I was paying very close attention to what I was listening to throughout, not just what I was seeing.
Yeah, and I have obviously I have an ear for that sort of thing, and that just showed me the amount of detail that was into this. But bottom line, for those that maybe don't have the that didn't grow up with the original, or this was a well-told story, and the production numbers were top notch. And God, I mean, the degree of difficulty Emily is going to get compared to Julie Andrews. Lynn's going to get, the comparisons to the folks of the original. Mark Shaman is going to get compared to the Sherman Brothers. And if they don't, they didn't write a Super Cal, or they didn't write a Let's Go Fly a Kite, you're going to feel they missed the mark. But so I think it's a real it's a high bar that's unrealistic for anybody to go after. Write the next great Stairway to Heaven. Okay, go.
Right. Listen, there's only one Gangnam Style. That's never going to happen again. So.
That's right. Lightning in a bottle, we say, people. Lightning in a bottle.
But you're right. I mean, what other film, what other musical film, save for maybe a Grease and a few others, has not one, not two, not three, but multiple songs that generation of viewers will not just latch on to, but remember and know the words to? I mean, they're very generational, almost, films like that.
Right. This movie actually had, I think, maybe more heart than the original. There were more tender moments than the original. This movie was deeper than the original, if you want to even say that. Now, will the music be as memorable as the original? Time will tell. I'd like to know love to have gone in a time machine and see after the movie came out. How big Super Cal? How long did it take for Super Cal or Let's Go Fly a Kite or Spoonful Sugar to become the classics that they are now? And I think time's going to tell whether like Fantastic or Nowhere to Go Up, if these become, classics to compare to the original. But, bottom line, I just thought it was a swing and a home run. I mean, wow, I can't wait to see it again. And I don't, my kids are grown, so our Disney film collection isn't growing anymore because we, like everybody with young kids, we probably buy them. This one's going to get back. This one's going to get bought. It's that's my bar now. Am I going to go out and buy it? So, and I have the soundtrack Yes, I did what you did and everybody else
the
did.
soundtrack, right? And I think you're right. I mean, from people I'm talking to, even Brian, who was so much skeptical about it, pre-ordered the film. So it's one that you'll see again, maybe not in the theaters, but it's one of the things that you are going to bring home. I don't do that with a lot of films, and this is one that seems to be repeatedly, that's the reaction that people are having to it.
Agreed, my friend. Agreed. So I'm glad I saw it. I'm very, a little shy on the awards, but I think there's always an anti-Disney bias when it comes to that. And it was a good time was had by all.
And so on a scale of 1 to 10?
Oh, I would give this a solid 9. A solid 9. I think the filmmaking is very solid. The crafts of the song and the actors are good. Like I said, this was a bar that was really high, and I thought they did everything to give homage to the original without trying to do a carbon copy of it, per se. I mean, yes, you could look at a number in this one and point this is a super cal number and all that kind of stuff. I totally understand that, but they could also have missed on those numbers too.
Right.
And, for the 2 hours that we were in the theater, we were thoroughly entertained, and frankly, that's all I care. That's all I care.
Right. It's how the film makes you feel, when you walk out.
And there were a lot of feels.
There were a lot of feels, man. I think they should hand out tissues when you get your ticket just for the attic scene alone.
Yeah. Well, between that and I think the last one we saw was Christopher Robin. I got to kick myself a comedy here soon.
Into the Spider-Verse.
Okay. Yeah.
So
sounds good, buddy. Well,
all right, brother. I'm happy you called in and weighed in. I was hoping that you'd be able to get through because I was very curious to hear, especially because of your incredible musical background. I wanted to hear your thoughts on it. So
I appreciate that. And hey, Guy, we'll talk to you really soon. And Merry Christmas, everybody in the box. And here's to 2019.
You too, brother. I'll talk to you soon.
Bye, bud.
Thanks, man. Take care. So let's take a couple of additional calls. I'm watching the comments as I am reading through as well, and a lot of people seem to be echoing the same thoughts. Hey, it's Lou. You're on the air.
Hi, I'm Caroline. I'm from New Jersey.
Caroline from New Jersey. How are you?
Yeah, I told you the other day.
How's the weather, and can you send me some White Castle?
It is cold. Ew at White Castle. I can send you Wawa, but you already have that.
You got Wawa now, so we're getting there.
All right, so I have some things to say about Mary Poppins.
Okay.
First of all, the first thing I thought of wasn't even criticizing the fact that it's a sequel to an old movie, but I thought of Saving Mr. Banks. Mm-hmm. It gave me the same, remaking a story kind of vibe. I personally really enjoyed it. I had to bring tissues. I'm a super emotional person,
I think you're not. Listen, I think it's okay to admit that it's almost expected that you're going to cry at least once. Like I can point to 1 or 2 times where you look around the theater, and if you're not crying, what's wrong? What are you doing?
Oh, of course. And I have friends who are not Disney people, unfortunately. And I drag them to the movies every time I want to go see one. And the girl I brought with me this time was like, you don't understand. That's a little reference to the first movie. And I personally think I don't want to give too much away. I'm sure there's people watching this that haven't seen it yet.
Right.
But the really, really sad scene towards the end, I think that was so perfect because the whole movie, there wasn't, I'm trying to put it in, trying not to give too much away, but they didn't give you any type of, plot, really. It was very bland. I loved it as much as I loved it. It was just, the same thing as the first movie. Mm-hmm. Not that I'm complaining. But I think they changed it in such a way that it was so much more relatable, especially now.
Right.
And I loved that.
And I think that's what it was intended to do. It was to create a Mary Poppins for a new generation of not just kids, but adults and parents as well.
Oh, for sure. I think that was exactly what they were intending to do, because if they were to remake the same movie and put it in theaters now, I don't think it would resonate the way that this one did.
Right.
It wouldn't have that really wholesome feeling to it.
Was there a song or a scene or a performance that stuck out to you most?
Oh, I feel like everyone's going to be in agreement, but imagine that was the scene. That had me. It's like they started off the movie so good, you know, it was consistent, and then they put in that song, and I was like, oh, this is where Emily Blunt takes the reins. I also really, really appreciated the fact that Julie Andrews decided not to be a part of the movie. I know that people are going to be upset about that, but she did it because she didn't want to take the limelight away from Emily Blunt, and I think that was really respectful of her, considering that's all anyone wanted.
Right.
They just wanted her to come back.
And I have a lot of respect and applaud her for doing that. And I think that was, to your point, it was not turning the role down. It was making sure Emily and the other performers took center stage where they belong, and it not become a film that Julie Andrews is in, if you know what I'm saying. Like, I think this is not a spoiler, that Dick Van Dyke's appearance there is not one that detracts from anybody else's performance or song or anything else like that. But if Julie Andrews comes in there in some sort of other role, it would be the thing that people are talking about. And I have a lot of respect for her for respectfully turning it down.
Oh, of course. And when they had Dick Van Dyke come in, I think it was perfectly timed, too, because it was kind of the anticipation factor of knowing he was going to be in it, but he didn't detract from everybody else. Like, he didn't take the shine away from anyone who was in the movie or making the movie. And the Sherman Brothers, like, the nod to the Sherman Brothers and their styling of music was awesome, while still giving those composers and writers the kind of like the high seat. Like, they got to be the ones who were respected and appreciated for making this type of movie. Yeah, I think it was comfortable. It was a comfortable movie.
Yeah, and I think that's a nice way to put it too. And we'll see, you know, like I said, the Golden Globe nominations had it for score, but none of Shaman's songs were nominated for Best Song. We'll see if the Oscars changes that, you know, or even a People's Choice.
I hope so.
Like that. Yeah, I think so too. Because I think there's a couple of numbers in there that could easily be recognized. So if you had to give it on a scale of 1 to 10?
I would give it a 9.5. I can't give it a full 10 just because I think that if it was going to be a perfect 10 and emulate the first movie, it would need Julie Andrews. Mm-hmm. But since she's not in it, we got to take off something. So I'll get a 9.5.
I like it. That's an excellent review and very well said, and I appreciate you calling in.
Well, thank you. I hope you had a wonderful Christmas, and I'm sure I will stay tuned in for the rest to hear everyone else.
Please do. Thank you so much, and have a great New Year.
Yeah, you too. Bye.
Take care. Bye-bye. So, high marks so far from everybody. And again, I'm following along on the Federico Macy said, it's good, but it's no Condor Man. I mean, look, there'll never be another Condor Man. Very interesting in terms of the reactions and the response, even for some of the points that you might say would detract from the film. They're still, 9+, and then Brian was Brian's feelings still was a 7.5, which is super high. I haven't even thought about what I would rank it as. I think I want to see it again, but if I had to put a number on it now, I'd probably say 8.5, 8.5, maybe a 9. And again, I hope to see it this week, more importantly, with my family, because I think it's a film that can and should be enjoyed, as a family film. And I think that's one of the things that I love about it. It is a musical. It's one of those things that I hope my kids walk out and want to go back and listen to the soundtrack again, as they have for other Disney films, especially Disney animated films. So my daughter loves Hamilton soundtrack. She loves Lin-Manuel Miranda. She loves Emily Blunt. So we'll see if all those pieces fit in together. So, and if anybody else wants to call in, we'll take a couple of more calls And then before we wrap up the night, let's talk about the holidays. And we'll do a little somewhat show and tell or talk and tell me a little about what you got. I still have some of my presents downstairs. I brought some of them up here. It was, like I said, it was a very, very Spidey Christmas. I'm just trying to quickly look at some of the comments as well. I only used 2 tissues. Is 1 box of Kleenex going to be enough, says Gene Pisecki. I think so. I think there's, like we said, I think there's probably 2 scenes where the tissues will come out, although I did find myself at a couple of points, I felt a little bit of the choke up because of the sentimental nods that the film or the music has. I think the music, as much as the dialogue, takes you on an emotional journey. Let's take one more call. Hey, it's Lou. You're on the air.
Hi, Lou. This is Yael.
Hey, how are you?
Good.
Oh, my gosh. Long time no see from New Jersey.
We met in New Jersey, but I live in New York.
Right. I mean, I'm just saying that's when I saw you. It was at right, Menlo Park Mall, right?
Yeah. So we saw Mary Poppins Returns, the 3 of me, my husband, and our 4-year-old. We all really enjoyed it. I think the most moving song to me was Where the Lost Things Go. My eyes were welling up during that song. And I think that Emily Blunt did a great job, and Lin-Manuel did a great job. I liked that he had that little rap number during the vaudeville type song. And I did feel like it's not as good as the original, but very, very enjoyable.
I agree. And again, I think that's what what the potential difficulty some people are going to have is that comparison along the way or after to the original, as opposed to watching the film as it stands alone on its own.
Right. I mean, if you just go and compare it to most movies now, it's a lot better than most movies. But, you know, it's not as good as the original. Right. I don't think that, you know, if you're looking to see Mary Poppins be the same as the Mary Poppins in the original, I mean, Emily Blunt smiles a lot, which I feel was very different for me. I was like, the original Mary Poppins didn't smile so much. She was more reserved.
But I also think Emily Blunt she was a little sassier than, there was a little bit more vanity, a little bit more sass in terms of her retorts to some people. And I'm like, Mary Poppins got a little bit of attitude going on, right?
But she did a great job. She has a great voice. She has great screen presence. You know, I feel that Lin-Manuel had an easier job because just the bar for Julie Andrews is, you know, unbelievable. Yeah. My other favorite role for Julie Andrews is The Sound of Music, which is one of my favorite movies. And, you know, I've seen other actresses play that role because I've seen it on stage several times. And, you know, you just have to accept everybody has a different interpretation. This is a very, very good interpretation.
And I'm happy she made it her own. I'm really happy she made it her own. And I only say this not to, but when during the press conference, I asked her about that. I asked her, how do you sort of, you know, do that? And I think, and I loved her answer in terms of, you know, striking that balance, but making that performance her own. I didn't include it on the podcast, but if you go to the video section on Facebook, you'll be able to watch it there for anybody who might have missed it. So, but yeah, a lot of people are saying, you know, there were a number of people who were in tears. Kelly says the Jersey Girl version of Mary Poppins, little sass, says Becky admires a little bit of sass. So That doesn't surprise me.
And
on a scale of 1 to 10, what do you think you'd give it?
My 4-year-old is trying to get my phone away from me.
Scale of 1 to 10, what would you give it?
But yes, I think that Emily Blunt is so talented. I think she did a great job in A Quiet Place, which if there's anyone out there who hasn't seen,
yes,
they should definitely see it. And to see the such different performances from her in the same year, it's really admirable.
What would you give it on a scale of 1 to 10?
I would give it 8.5, which is a very high mark for me.
Yeah. Yep. And I think, based on what we're hearing, it seems to be on average sort of falling into that 8.5, 8.7 range. And I think as time goes on, as more people get to see it, it's tough with a movie coming out right before the holidays. Even tonight, I know people are busy, but, I'll be curious to see what, over time, what the reaction to this film is as people see it and start to reflect on it some more.
Well, interestingly enough, a coworker of mine went to the screening at the Alamo in Brooklyn last week, and the cast was there, and he said everybody there really enjoyed it. And I said, "Oh, so how do you compare it to the original?" He said, "I never saw the original." So there's a lot of, there are a lot of people out there who, we're so into Disney. Of course we saw it, right. But there are people who haven't, and they're my age. So,
and I think that's why we were saying it's a Mary Poppins film for a new generation.
Yes. So I hope people do give it a chance and just enjoy.
I agree. Well, good. Thank you for calling in. It is good to hear from you. Please give your family my best, and I hope you have a wonderful New Year.
Okay. Do you want to say hello? Okay. Elizabeth wants to say hello.
Hello.
Hi, Elizabeth.
I'm good. And I could talk on her phone.
Yes.
So, anyway, have great holidays and Happy New Year.
Thank you. You too. Thanks for calling in.
Bye.
Bye-bye. So, if you haven't seen the film yet or you were unable to get through, I know I saw a lot of other calls trying to come through. I would love to keep this conversation going in the Box People group on Facebook. So if you go, and I'm sure you've been there already, but if you go to, www.com/boxpeople or the www.com/community, leave your thoughts there after you've had a chance to see and think back on and reflect on the film, as well as what your favorite song from the film was as well. I think there's a couple. Triple Light Fantastic is easy to refer to and remember, but I think there's a couple other songs in there that I think over time will start to sort of be a little entrenched in people too. So, but before we go, I want to know very quickly. I don't need these anymore. I would love to know what you got from Santa or Hanukkah Harry, or whomever brought you presents this year. For me, it was a wonderful Christmas. Not because of the presents I received, but the presence of the people who shared this holiday with me. Christmas Eve is sort of we spend with family, and my mom and my brother were here. And look, as we all get older, those days that we get to spend with family, one of these Christmases, one of these Hanukkahs is going to be your last. So I'm very hyper aware and very appreciative of the time I get to spend. And then Christmas Day, we sort of opened up the doors to my extended family and friends in the area. And it was just wonderful. There's a lot of different things we've started to do. We did a white elephant exchange. We do sort of that oven mitt mystery gift wrap thing, and gave away an Amazon Echo and had a lot of fun and a whole ton of food. And I got so many Spidey gifts. They're not even all upstairs yet. So This chair came from Becky Menken from MEI and Mouse Fan Travel. For all your, look, I'm even going to say it enthusiastically, for all of your vacation planning needs. And look, the holidays are over. You're thinking about your vacations for 2019. Hit these folks up at Mouse Fan Travel. They will hook you up wherever you want to go. Because Becky hooked me up not just with this chair last year, but let's see if you can see. So I haven't figured out exactly how to hang these yet. These are my little Spider-Man string lights. There's my Spider-Man Snuggie. There's my Spider-Man. It fits in perfectly in my little cube. Wait. Oh, come on. Wait, come here. I got my Spider-Man pillow. And I got my Spider-Man blankie. Oh, and I got so many Spider-Man things. What else? Oh, there's that. You can't see it, but wait. It's a little like 3D printed art thingy that glows and whatnot. And I got this guy. It's like a Spider-Man speaker, and I can like take calls with him. And he like blinks and talks. And wait, let's see. He's awesome. He's Bluetooth, so he connects to my phone, and yeah, it was a very Spidey Christmas. I, of course, love giving more than I love receiving, and that was the most fun for me. Was treating friends and family to things I thought and hoped that they would enjoy. A lot of times we have game night with some local friends, so we all I gave out different games to everybody, and the night got very, very interesting. Michael Goldtrap, the Spider-Verse after credits scene, I'm with you, bro. I've seen it twice so far, and I loved it. Joseph Jowdy, I saw that your daughter gave me the complete set of audio tours. Thank you so very much. It's the gift that keeps on giving all year long, so thank you very much. I want to know from you guys, what is the best gift you gave or received this holiday season? Whether you gave it or received it, let me know. Tim Moore, I haven't done a call-in about Into the Spider-Verse, but we will. Becky, you did go. Oh, wait, also my nightlight is already up over there. I already plugged in my little Spider-Man, like Spider-Head nightlight. Do you want me to show some of the other things that you sent, too? Probably not. But I got candy, and it was wonderful, and I'm very grateful for your not just your sponsorship, but your friendship is most important. What's on my shirt says Pamela Bart. It is my Midtown School of Science and Technology, also from Spider-Man. So again, also I want to thank whoever. I got this today. Wait. So I oftentimes will get things in the mail, and they're so wonderful and appreciated. And those of you who have gifted me something and put a card or whatever, I've tried to either make sure I responded or I promise I'm getting to you. This came in today. I took the protective wrapping off. It's The Best of Spider-Man by Stan Lee. This is a book from, I believe, 76 or 77. It is in absolutely perfect mint condition. And it is not only have sort of narrative story in there, but it has all of the best of the newspaper strips, as well as some bonus color stuff. There was no card. There was no indicator. If it's you and you're watching, that's not my small appendix. That's supposed to be a heart. I love and appreciate and thank you for sending that. So let me see what else. Becky says 17 Spider-Man boxes. A couple of those boxes had nothing to do with Spider-Man. So Steamboat Willie, Pandora Charm from your son, he says Tina Cairo. Kids got us tickets for Come From Away, a Broadway show for the aforementioned Colin Dave Rashoni. My friends want me souvenirs from Tokyo Disney. I dig a lot. Aladdin tickets to your dad, the play. That's awesome. Got my son some vintage Trix yogurts. Oh, my God. I love Trix. Trix yogurts. I thought it was Trix, the cereal. Marvel and Stephanie Perry Bullock. Look at you with the Marvel Invicta watch. Sweet. Did I hide the Kringle? John Jones sent me a Cajun Kringle from my favorite city in the United States, New Orleans. It's gone. And I mean, not that I didn't get it. I mean, it be eaten already. Not all of it by me, but a solid 91% of that. 97 max percent. Homemade gourmet bread for my niece's boyfriend, who's a chef. It was a tiki Christmas for Kelly Williams Bagley. Some are still, oh God, Becky, you have me nervous. Let me see, Alessandra, Merry Christmas to you as well. Let me go back. Paul Clark says, our best gift was our daughter coming home to spend Christmas. I love it. Jessica plays Uno. My 8-year-old Elena says her Lego set was her favorite. Tell Elena, you know who loves Legos? This guy. And the guy in there. My son loves Legos as well. Nothing will ever beat Mark's Stretch Armstrong from 1977. We're doing a land and sea in 10 years. We got pillows from Coronado Springs. Steamboat Willie necklace. Let me see. Let me go back here. A couple others. Edward, Merry Christmas to you as well. A puzzle from my kids as a way to tell them we're going to Disney in February. So smart. Hello from Levi Stadium in California. Edward, are you playing? Are you working? Or are you watching? Yeah, we did the White Elephant Exchange last night. Some people decided to go funny. Some people decided to go a little bit more serious. It was a very, very interesting exchange. And fortunately, some of the kids were young enough to not understand some of the references in there. I got, where is he? Oh, he's outside. I got a little mini Zoltar. Remember Zoltar from Big, like the little boardwalk fortune teller? That's what I ended up with. And Becky Menken was actually here at my house. And Becky, what did you end up with? The you did not get my son stole your Infinity War gauntlet mug. I don't remember what you ended up with. Oh, you got the hat. Becky got a didn't you get the hat? The beautiful octopus hat. So but John Jones got a lot of H2O stuff from the family from Disney Cruise. That is awesome. Stephen Conti, good to see you as well. Oh, you live right behind Levi Stadium. I gave myself an Amazon Echo Spot. Brian Donovan, my long time friend from the early days of DisneyWorldTrivia.com, which is what this used to be called. It's good to see you. So Dave is showing me White Elephant is sort of a Secret Santa gift exchange. You give everybody a dollar figure. I think we did like $15 something. Everybody buys a gift and wraps it and puts it in the center of the room. And then you go around the turn. We drew numbers, and you go and you open up you pick a gift and you open it, and you can steal. If you want to steal somebody else's gift before you open yours, you can do that, and then you can steal it up to 3 times, and it's just a lot of fun. And we had probably 30 people at my house last night, so it was fun and funny and an absolute blast. So, John Jones, I saw a picture of your Disney jacket. I dig it with the retro logo. So yes, so for me it was a very Spidey Christmas, and when this call is over tonight, I'm going to take my blanket and I'm going to take my Snuggie and I'm going to go downstairs on my couch and I'm going to give myself a little Christmas treat of taking half a night off. So thank you for leaving the hat for me, Becky. I hope you enjoyed your gift as well, and I made sure it was something small that you can easily transport, but it's something you can start to collect too. So GoPro Hero 7 to shoot Disney videos. Those are sweet. Kelly Jean Simons, yes, I have that's a Spider-Man Snuggie right there. Well, at least it's the box for it. The Snuggie's already downstairs. So I love me some Snuggies. I love me some you. And I love the fact, I don't love the fact, maybe I do love the fact that it's the last show of 2018. I can't believe this year is over. Whether this is your first time watching or your 52nd, 50, whatever, however many weeks there are in a year, I love and appreciate you. And I say it every week. What? My Bluetooth Spider-Man just woke up and is talking to me for some reason, which is cool and weird all at the same time. We are going to do a recap show looking back on the year that was in 2018, and then we'll look ahead to what we're looking forward to. Why are you staring at me, Spider-Man? in 2019. Stay tuned for that coming up in the next week or so. I hope that as you look back on the year that is coming to close, you take the time to remember and appreciate all the good things that happened and use those as stepping stones and building blocks to an even better 2019. I promised myself I'm not going to get long-winded and wappy and seepy. No, sappy and weepy. I swear I talk for a living. But I want to tell you that I love you and I'm grateful to you for giving me the gift of the best year ever. And I promise I will do everything in my power to make 2019 better for you through the show, through the other things that I can do to try and help you. Please let me know. And I want you to know that your friendship has and continues to be the best gift I can ask for. And I mean that sincerely. And just seeing you here, or a message on Facebook, or a tweet, or an email, or the cards, or the gifts, or just, the fact that you listen to the show means the world to me. I know how valuable your time is, especially this week. So I love you for being here. I hope that you had a wonderful 2018, a very happy holiday, and that you have a delicious and safe and healthy new year, and you get to spend and share it with those that you love. I love you. I appreciate you. Thank you. And I'll see you next year. Bye.